Okay, so something absolutely incredible just happened. Our planet got a front row seat to one of the most amazing light shows we've seen in a long, long time. And the craziest part? It showed up in places you would never, ever expect. Yup, you heard that right. The Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis, decided to take a road trip, pushing way, way south of their usual Arctic hangout. This wasn't just a show for the folks at the North Pole. This was a full-on global spectacle. I mean, just imagine this. People in Texas, probably in the middle of a barbecue, look up and the sky is just shimmering with these wild colors. Seriously, Texas. And it wasn't just there. All the way on the other side of the planet, Japan's northern island, Hokkaido, was getting the exact same light show, bathed in this incredible, otherworldly glow. And get this, even people in massive cities like Beijing, with all that light pollution, were reporting sightings. They were seeing this cosmic dance right from their own homes. Just wow. So all of this has to make you wonder, right? What is going on? Why is the sky suddenly glowing in places it almost never does? What's behind this whole thing? Well, to get to the bottom of this, we need to take a little trip. About 93 million miles away, actually, because it all starts with the star of our show, the sun. So the official name for what caused all this is a geomagnetic storm. Sounds pretty intense, right? And it is. Just think of it like a huge weather storm, but instead of wind and rain, it's a massive wave of energy and particles from the sun that comes crashing into our planet. But here's the thing, this wasn't just any storm. No, this was the big one. It was officially rated a G5. Now, on the scale for these things, G5 is the absolute highest you can go. It's the most extreme level possible. We're talking about a true cosmic hurricane here. Okay, so how does a storm in space create these beautiful lights on Earth? It's actually a super cool chain reaction. First, the sun has a massive eruption, like a giant solar burp, and it chucks a huge cloud of charged particles out into space. These particles then surf the solar wind all the way to Earth. Now, our planet's magnetic field is like this invisible shield, and it catches these particles and funnels them down toward the north and south poles. And this is where the magic happens. When those super energized particles finally slam into the atoms in our atmosphere, like oxygen and nitrogen, they get excited and start to glow. And that beautiful glow, that's what we see as the aurora. The science is just fascinating, right? But what's it really like to be there, to stand under that sky as it's dancing? Let's find out by stepping into the shoes, or more like the very thick boots, of an aurora chaser. So here's the dream, the picture you have in your head. A sky just completely on fire with these magical dancing ribbons of light. You know that moment of pure awe where you just feel connected to the entire universe? But then there's the reality. Because to get that perfect view, you usually have to go to some of the coldest places on the planet. I'm talking about places like Yellowknife in Canada, where the temperature can just plummet to a bone-chilling -30°C. That's cold. And yeah, you don't just show up in a hoodie. Surviving that kind of cold requires a serious toolkit. We're talking 3 down jackets, tons of heat packs, special gloves, the whole shebang. And, kind of hilariously, instant noodles. Because let me tell you, after you've been standing in the freezing dark for hours, a hot cup of noodles feels like the most gourmet meal on Earth. But you know, after all that planning, after you've braved the freezing cold and waited, the reward, the payoff, can be something you'll never, ever forget. Listen to how one person put it. The light is dancing from here to there and back again. At this moment, you completely forget how cold you are. Can you imagine? It's just a moment of pure, unfiltered wonder. Now, here's something really cool. Not all auroras look the same. The green that we see most of the time, that happens when those solar particles hit oxygen atoms about 100 kilometers up. Pretty standard. But during this crazy G5 storm, people were seeing a lot of red. And that's because the storm was so powerful, the particles had enough juice to reach oxygen atoms way, way higher up. We're talking over 150 kilometers. And up there, oxygen glows red. That is a super rare sight. So, for as long as people have seen these lights, they've inspired myths and legends and just wonder. But the places where they show up, these wild, remote landscapes, they also hold a real sense of danger. It's a powerful reminder that nature has 2 sides. On the one hand, you've got these beautiful legends. Like in Japan, there's an old folklore that says if you conceive a child under the aurora, they'll be blessed with good fortune and health. They even call them aurora babies. How sweet is that? But then there's the other side of the coin, and it's a much darker one. Let me tell you about Atsumi Yoshikubo. She was a 45-year-old doctor from Japan who traveled to Yellowknife all by herself back in 2014, just to see the lights. She was last seen walking down a remote highway, and then she was just gone. They mounted this huge search, one of the biggest in the area's history, but they never found her. It's just a tragic, chilling reminder that the same wilderness that gives us this incredible beauty is still very, very wild and untamed. So, that brings us back around to the big question, doesn't it? Why now? Why are we seeing such intense, globe-trotting auroras right now? Well, the answer isn't here on Earth. It's all about the rhythm of the sun. You see, our sun has this cycle. It's about 11 years long. It goes from being pretty calm, that's called the solar minimum, to being really active and stormy, which we call the solar maximum. And guess where we are right now? Yep. We are right in the middle of the solar maximum, a peak period of activity that's going to last through 2026. And that means more sunspots, more solar flares, and you guessed it, more powerful geomagnetic storms. Okay, so let's wrap this all up. What are the big takeaways here? First, that incredible global light show, it was all thanks to a super powerful G5 geomagnetic storm. Second, we're in a solar maximum right now, which is basically peak season for the sun's activity, and it's going to keep going until 2026. That means we can probably expect more of these intense auroras. And finally, the aurora is just this powerful, powerful reminder of how nature can be both unbelievably beautiful and seriously dangerous. When you think about it, this whole thing is just this incredible cosmic dance. It's a beautiful and, yeah, sometimes dangerous reminder of just how connected we are to our sun's immense power. It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? In our day-to-day lives with everything we have going on, what other amazing things like this are we overlooking?